Start. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. This is Cesar Trabanco of the Global Chamber, and this is the monthly League of Opportunities Part One. And as many of you already know, the event, and it's normally one where we have five, six members getting spotlighted and then presenting about their companies and presenting about opportunities in the regions. So today I would like to start with David Ahern and Eduardo from Across the Ocean Shipping. David is in Melbourne, Australia. Eduardo is in LA. Welcome, guys. Welcome, David. Let's start with you.
Thank you, Caesar. Yes, David Ahern, Across the Ocean Shipping. We're a freight forwarder based out of Melbourne, Australia is our head office. We're in Melbourne, Brisbane, Los Angeles, and Rotterdam, Netherlands. So we're a global freight forwarder, established in 2008. We get involved in imports and exports globally, via sea, via air, and internally via rail also. We're fully IATA registered members, which means we deal directly with airlines, which some freight forwarders do not. So we get excellent air buying rates. We're also part of the NAAAI over in America, which means that we get very, very good sea freight contracts, particularly on exports out of the US. We're NVOCC registered, FMC bonded. So yeah, we've got a team over in Los Angeles. As I say, that guys in LA have been going since 2017. We've joined this club obviously to build connections, meet people. What we're looking for when we go and see new clients, we look for partnerships as opposed to anything. We're looking to see how we can help other people, be it through customs consultancy. We've got many examples where we've looked at companies where they've been importing from certain countries. We've done a full audit on their previous customs clearances. And just an example, last week when I was over in Western Australia, we onboarded a client 4 years ago. And when we onboarded them, we went through their previous clearances, and we found $88,000 that we could get back for them, because their previous freight forwarder was clearing their shipments incorrectly, and they're actually paying a duty which wasn't applicable. Now, obviously, with all the duty issues and tariff issues that are going on over in the US, one day it's 130%, next day it's 30%, it's 10%. There's a lot of confusion going on. So there's probably a good segue to bring Eduardo in. And Eduardo will explain a bit more on how we can help people who are in the exporting and importing game, to clarify the duties they should be paying and how we can help sort of circumnavigate any of this upheaval right now in the marketplace.
Awesome. And David, before we jump right to Eduardo, what's the hot opportunities out in Australia? You know, where the companies are exporting to from there, or importing from what part of the world, just to everyone here in the room have a better idea of how's trade looking in 2025 there.
Yeah, so Australia's predominantly an importing country, so it's different to the US in that respect. But main trading partners for Australia is China, Vietnam. Obviously, we do a lot of business out of the US with our US office, but with China, with Australia not really having a manufacturing hub, we don't really manufacture anything. So our main exports, we ship a lot of bentonite clay for clients. This clay is used for cat litter. It's used for face implants. It's used for undersoil for gardens. It's very widely used. It's got many diverse uses. Um, we're seeing that we move a lot of food out of Australia, particularly the food in Australia, and the produce is very highly regarded globally. So there's a lot of that movement coming out of Australia. Wine's a big thing. Um, Meat, there's a lot of beef. I think there's just been a discussion between the US and Australia in regards to meat and poultry moving between the two countries. So there's opportunities there for sure. Um, so yeah, and there's obviously a lot of raw materials that are moving out of Australia, be it coal, iron ore, lithium. There's a lot of that coming out of Australia right now. Um, inbound wise, inbound wise, we import pretty much anything that's been manufactured, to be honest with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Great summary. Thank you very much, David. Let's then move to Eduardo, who's in Los Angeles. Eduardo Galifa, welcome.
Hey everyone, great to see you all. I see a few familiar faces already here. And I'll introduce myself first, Cesar, if you allow me. My name is Eduardo Gallifa. I'm the Business Development Manager here in the US for Across the Ocean Shipping. I actually start working for Across the Ocean Shipping back in March 2015. So that makes it 10 years over in Melbourne. I actually used to live in Melbourne myself. And then I came over to the US. I've been here for a few years already. Um, One of the things that I want to say is that uh, across the ocean shipping, we love logistics, guys. We are very passionate about what we do. We're very passionate about helping clients, sorting out their needs, talking to them, finding new ways. I say freight forwarder. That it's a term that a lot of people that they're not in this industry, sometimes they ask us, "What's a freight forwarder?" Right? So it's an international logistics company. We play a very very critical role in the supply chain for our customers. We act as a middleman. We're the ones who are negotiating rates for them. We're the ones who are arranging the customs clearance for them, also advising on the best sorts of shipping ways they can bring their goods or they can export their goods. We arrange bookings for them. uh, Documentation management, it's very very important. We get clients that they don't know how to uh, prepare an SLI, right? When you have to export a shipment, so we guide them, in from A to Z all the way. Certificates of origin, that's something that we also arrange for them. As a freight forwarder, we play that big role with them. So that's the exciting part, right? So we like to help our customers. Think outside the box. Why are you only doing these shipments from Asia to here, and then you have to re-export it, right? We can do something that is called cross-trade shipments or foreign to foreign, especially now with all these tariff going on. That would happen a month ago. Actually, we had a discussion as well with Doug, and everything was happening. Back in April after the announcement, we got this call as well for our clients. What are we going to do? Right. So we came up with these solutions, bonded shipments to Mexico. That's one of our bread and butter that we're doing right now. We bring cargo from Asia, transload at a warehouse in LA, bring it to Tijuana, take it to Nogales, El Paso, Laredo, and then cross it over to Mexico. We do the same thing on the Mexico to USI, and then re-export it or an export shipment, because from Houston there is better connection to Switzerland or whatnot, right? So we care about our customers. We're always looking at different ways. This is a very changing market, I can tell you. Logistics is a very very and it's crucial that we're up to date on the new trends. um, we also, as across the ocean shipping, we pride ourselves that we're one of the few freight forwarders in the world that we really care about technology for our customers and agents. We actually have a platform that you can track your shipments, you can download reports, uh, and at the end of the year, they're trying to figure out how many containers did it ship over to America, how many containers we export to certain countries, right? So we have that system, and they present that with their management team, with their directors, and say, why are we not shipping anything else from Brazil? Why is this slowing down? So it helps our customers as well, to give them those tools and track their shipments live. So that's one of the things that we really focus on, right? So on the needs of the client, that we care about the client. Um, as a freight forwarder here in America, and David was just sharing as well, we get Australia. It's a different market. They focus a lot on Southeast Asia. It's an import market full on. A few exports. We actually used to do a lot of wine out of Australia. Um, Now here in America, it's both ways, right? It's imports, it's exports, it's transloading here in the US, it's cross border to Mexico, cross border to Canada, rail service to Florida, bring it back the cargo, bring the cargo to New York, Chicago. It's a whole different ball game here. Me, myself, obviously, Mexican background. I've been focusing a lot on the nearshoring with Mexico, LATAM freight. We just came back from Brazil. We had a phenomenal event at the Intermodal this year. I think it was one of the biggest ones ever in the history for the Intermodal in Brazil, which allows us to connect with different agents and customers in South America. LATAM as a region has a lot of potential right now, especially for what's happening over in Asia. So a lot of suppliers are switching to Central America, so South America, to Mexico. And we have those connections. We have those services contract with carriers. We can give them extra free days at destination. Also here in the U.S., we help companies to be set up here in the U.S. as well. We get involved with a lot of major projects, especially because in freight forwarding, guys, it's not only moving containers, it's not only moving LCL cargo, it's not only moving air freight. We actually get involved with big project cargo. It's called project cargo, which means over dimensional cargo. We actually, a few months ago, we managed to get this project on board, that we brought in the first electrical plane into the US from Sweden. So we had to do the whole lot. We had to do the transload. We had to do the transfer all the way to Pittsburgh from New York. It was a very hectic project, and those are the projects that we like as well. We do charter vessels as well out of San Diego, Port Hueneme, Houston, Florida as well. So that's what we're not just a common freight forwarder that only focus on LCL and FCL, and we actually think outside the box. Right now, with all the duties happening for our customers, we're also referring them to different suppliers around the globe. Why don't you look at Central America? Why don't you look at Mexico? Why don't you look at South America? Transit is way better. Price probably is as well way better. Now the product, you just have to negotiate with the supplier, right? But it's we always thinking about how to help our customers. That's our key, Cesar.
Awesome. Thank you, Eduardo. Any questions from the group here?
Mhm.
And feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions for David or Eduardo.
Please, yes.
And if not, I have one for
Actually,
you.
I do.
Oh,
If it's
thank you,
okay.
Manabu. Yeah,
Yes.
please go ahead.
I guess the questions both to David and Eduardo, since I understand you both work for the same company. When you mention partnerships, can you describe what you're looking for? Because Itochi also has a global logistic subsidiary. So just curious where that.
When you mentioned, sorry, Manabu, I didn't-
You mentioned you were looking for partnerships.
okay.
And I just wanted to learn more about what
So
What kind of partnerships are you looking for?
absolutely. I'll go on, David. So we're part of different networks around the globe. That we, as an agent here in the US, we can help freight forwarders or logistics companies around the globe with their customs clearance in the US, with their export shipments. So the example, Malaysia, right? So we have a partnership with a few agents there that we do break bulk cargo, we do exports from Malaysia, we do export from the US to Malaysia that they need us to do customs clearance and delivery our clients. So we look for those companies that they do the same thing as us but overseas. That's what we look for, sort of like partnership. That's the main goal.
I see.
So you mentioned who has a logistics company as well? Sorry.
My firm, meaning
Can you introduce yourself, Manu? Feel free, just
sure. It's I work for Itochu Corporation. I'm based in New York.
Mhm.
Itochu is a public listed company about in Tokyo, $70 billion market cap. We pretty much are multi-industry, multinational. So I think we have like offices over 60 countries globally. And regarding the business, we also do have a logistics business. There's a subsidiary called Itochu Logistics based in Japan, but also they have a US subsidiary, Itochu Logistics USA, as well as other countries as well. So I'm just trying to figure out whether there's a connection when you mention partnerships. The logistic business, we pretty much do, I think everything from the freight forwarding, custom clearance, both air, sea, and land. So we pretty much do. I think we pretty much do everything, but I'm not sure how much globally. We do have an office in US, in Europe, and obviously Asia. I have to check whether we have an office in Australia or not, or any business, but I'm just trying to figure out if there's
Yeah.
a
So
connection there. When you mentioned partnerships, if there's
yeah.
something.
So it's very important when it comes to freight forwarding to have those partnerships, Mr. Manabu, because you have that global network access. You have the to be reliable with your partners. That's very important as well.
Yeah.
Prefer rates. We usually have an agency agreement with our partners as well, so you have more options and you can be more successful in your market.
Mhm.
That's actually the most important thing. So you can be more successful with your clients.
I can make sure I can help you connect in Manabu and
I would
Eduardo
love
and
to,
David.
to connect.
Yeah.
And even if you have an office in the US, that's fine. We actually deal with a lot of freight forwarders. They have offices in Chicago, in Miami. But this is the interesting about freight forwarder. Um, it's very broad. Probably the office that you guys have in the US, they can probably
Yeah.
concentrate on imports or exports or whatever. And you never know. You can consolidate knowledge and contacts, and something can happen. And in Australia, if you don't have anyone, we're here to help you as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
absolutely.
So thank you again, Eduardo and David. And I'm gonna
Can I ask a question, Caesar?
yes, Steven, go ahead. Let's try to be quick as we move
Oh, okay. I'm
towards
sorry.
the
Yes.
next one.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just
Hi,
my name
Steven.
is Steve Nicolakiris. I'm a CPA. I'm an accountant in New York as well. I work for a company called CBiz. We're a mid-sized accounting firm that's grown quite a bit. We have over 10,000 employees, and we're the seventh largest firm in the country. But me personally, I represent a lot of consumer product manufacturing and distribution. Importing is a huge part of our practice. Just curious whether or not you guys think, with all this craziness, if you expect, just the rates, the freight rates to balloon up again the way they did during the pandemic, or are you not expecting any major increases in rates over the next 6 to 9 months?
No, definitely, Steven. I was up all night yesterday with my Chinese agents right now. Things are going up, rates are going up. $500,000 per container, especially from China. Vietnam is a bit stable, Malaysia as well. But what happened, we're experiencing a similar scenario what happened 5 years ago when everything stopped, and then all of a sudden carry on, and everyone wanted to book the space. So that's exactly what's happening. Our customers were, oh, let me check with such and such, and I'll come back to you. And then we're coming back to us. And, sorry, there's no more space. Now it's $500 more. So we've seen that effect. Tonight's going to be interesting as well, because a lot of the vessels are also out of capacity. So yes, we probably see that wave again. Probably not as bad as 5 years ago, because it was a global thing, but now everything is a domino effect anyway. But yes, absolutely, it's happening. 2 weeks ago, it was very cheap to bring over a container because no one was shipping. Now it went up again, and it will be.
Right.
I mean, I just want to be honest, right? Because I don't want to lie to my conference or anything. Yes, it's going up.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
But that's what we're here to look for solutions as well for our customers. Yeah.
And Eduardo, you mentioned very briefly about wine, exporting wine from Australia. And so the next speaker is a longtime member, is Casey Branch, and he's the wine lawyer. And you're based in California, so he's based in California, so it's really a good connection. And Casey, are you there? Are you ready to speak and give us an update on the whole tariff situation for your clients? Let's see. Casey, just in case you're mute. Okay, so let's go back to Casey later on. Then I would like to move now then to Colin Christie. Colin is our executive director in Manila in the Philippines, and we've been very active with Colin, specifically working an AI platform called Globi. But in general, Colin, it would be great to get an update on what's happening in the Philippines, plus what's happening in the AI world from you. That would be great. Thank you, Colin.
Hey, thank you, Cesar. Nice to talk to everyone. Good morning from Manila. Yeah, so I think just a quick update on the Philippines. I think much like many emerging markets, the key word here is digital economy. The digital economy here is just really booming, on fire. One exciting trend here is just frankly, Philippines startup ecosystem. Over the last decade or so, there's been a lot of great ideas and a lot of startups, but shortfalls, significant shortfalls in capital raising. But I think we're finally starting to turn the corner on that. I think last year, 2024, for the first time, there was over $1 billion raised by startups. Now that sounds like a small amount of money compared to Silicon Valley. But significant for here, and the trend lines are very strong, and we're starting to see some pretty high valued startups as well, especially in the fintech and digital banking area. And I think what's driving that is phenomenal growth in adoption of digital payments and e-wallets, largely ignited by the pandemic, of course. I think this happened in many markets, but continuing to grow. So pre-pandemic, digital payments was, adoption was under 10%, and then we just crossed the 50% threshold. So that's pretty remarkable. Pretty much half the population is equipped for digital payments and e-wallets. And when you consider that Filipinos with bank accounts, hovered for many years in the single digits percentage. Literally, no one has a regular traditional bank account, and therefore was cash economy. The move now to half the population, and you can see this, like even if you just do low value transactions like deliveries and small payments, even on the street, everyone uses an e-wallet like Gcash, for example. So that's really igniting things. Again, it's all around digital on the data side and infrastructure side. The Philippines just opened up its first sort of its hyperscale data center, local data center. And again, not a large data center by global standards, but an important move into domestic, hyperscale business. 5G is making great inroads. I think just about all of Metro Manila now, pretty much close to 100% of the metro has coverage on 5G. On AI, the focus has really been on upskilling and obviously worries about the impact on the BPO sector, the business process outsourcing sector. So I think the two reactions to that is one, significant investment and support by the national government on upskilling. A lot of funds are flowing towards upskilling programs, but also a pivot by the BPO to de-emphasize the voice business and move up the value chain into things like analytics, software development, data, and those types of things. And so, the good news on the BPO side is that there's still strong job growth. The workforce is around 1.8 million right now, and they're still forecasting 2.5 million by 2028. So by no means they're forecasting a decline in the workforce, but definitely a pivot to things like legal services, software analytics, AI, rather than the traditional customer service support, voice support. So maybe Cesar, that's a broad brush on the Philippines. On Globi, we're very excited about that. It's mostly right now still in sort of internal testing amongst our executive directors, but the concept here is, why do we maybe address this, because it might be on your minds. Why even do this? Because you've got so many choices now, ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and many others, Microsoft Copilot and all of these. And there's obviously phenomenal tools, and we're not trying to compete with them. The differentiator we see for Globi is the curation of useful business-related information, trust, and connections. So I think that's the differentiator. So we just take those three points. So curation. So one thing we've built into Globi is we actually can control precisely the knowledge base inside of this AI tool, inside of this chatbot, and precisely control when you ask a question, how it sources its response. And we can populate the knowledge base with our own knowledge sources. So we're in the process of doing that, including creating internal knowledge bases. And then that, of course, helps with trust. One of the things people always have forefront on their minds when they're asking for information out of the commercial chatbots is, we've all heard of this term hallucination, where you can't 100% trust that it just didn't actually make up the answer it gave you. I just saw this morning in the news, a lawyer for one of the AI companies, believe it or not, just got embarrassed by citing a legal precedent that doesn't exist in a case that they were working on. Because it was generated out of their tool, and it's not actually a case. So, trust is something we're trying to address. And then the third, and really sort of belongs as number one, because it's what Global Chamber is all about, is connections. So we're going to allow our people in our ecosystem to opt in to sharing their business profiles and data about their companies and themselves. Kind of think of it as in terms of sort of an AI LinkedIn, and allow you to be business matched when people are in discussions with Globi. So somebody might be asking about something in, around shipping in Australia, and then you guys, Globi would be able to say, oh, well, have you talked to Eduardo? He might be somebody you want to connect with. So having the ability, to have the AI sort of, that point of connection, that's really probably our number one long-term priority for Globi. So Cesar, hopefully that does the job of what you were looking for.
No, that's great, Colin. And yes, that with Globi, that's the end goal, to really have a tool making connections for members, and of course, still having a team doing some connections, but at least facilitating and when it comes to all the data and information behind all these events and all the one-on-ones, having one place to where the AI can pull that from. So that's really where we're looking forward to. Colin, what in terms of the tourism in the Philippines, because I remember you sent me a picture not long ago about a beach area, and I was onboarding a member. Well, it wasn't a onboard; it was a follow-up, a renewal. A member in Spain that's in tourism today, and so I was all about beaches in the Mediterranean Sea. And so, how is it going with when it comes to the Philippines and the infrastructure? Is it growing? What opportunities are out there for tourism?
Yeah, I've been I did a startup my own here in the Philippines. That's why I'm here. And I kind of have to pinch myself when I say it was 25 years ago that I did my first startup here. So I've been very deeply engaged. And so when I look at the Philippines today versus back then, year 2000, it's like the transformation is sort of stunning, just in terms of the modern cities that have been built, but especially on infrastructure, Cesar. We still have horrendous traffic downtown. I don't know if that'll ever get solved, but the longer haul transportation corridors are dramatically improved. We have a north-south expressway now that has dramatically reduced travel times for longer haul trips, and more important or equally important, digital infrastructure. So I live by design more than an hour south of the metro because I don't like the downtown traffic. And I can do that because I have 700 megabit fiber internet in my house, and I'm way out of the downtown area. And I've had this fiber for 3 years now, and I think there was one 10-minute outage in 3 years. It's just absolutely rock solid. And so that's an example. And like I said, just the digital economy is thriving. So I can I can order from Amazon and then have it at my front door in 3 or 4 days if it's coming from the States. But I can order pretty much anything on our local e-commerce sites here and have it in the door, same day or next morning. That was a dream just even 5-6 years ago, right? So infrastructure around logistics, transportation, and data, and internet is now, certainly out in the provincial areas, they don't have this yet, but it's coming. We were one of the first countries to get Starlink. So in fact, speaking of being on holiday, we were at a resort out in the middle of literally nowhere on a small island someplace last year. And we had fabulous internet in our room. And then I asked the gentleman, I happened to bump to the GM, and I said, "Oh, how come you guys have such great internet?" He says, "Oh, you see, it's Starlink."
Interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
any questions for Colin, or any particular comments or interest to connect with Colin? And now I see a comment from Chris Bennett about how amazing AI is. Chris, do you have a minute to introduce yourself? Or if not, I can definitely tell a little bit about Chris. He's part of our Washington, D.C. chapter, a lawyer and IP expert, and he's running our What's Up in Global Law events that are happening every month. So I really encourage everyone to connect with Chris. He's amazing. So thanks again, Colin. I will now move to Casey. I see Casey now, so I'm pretty sure that he's going to be able to speak.
Yes.
Hi, Casey. How you doing?
It's been another day. And you?
All good. All good. Great. So Casey is as I said before, is a wine lawyer, a spirits lawyer, very involved with sports. He actually ran our Global Chamber Olympics podcast last year, and so I'm gonna make sure to send a link here in the chat while he speaks. So Casey, what's the latest with you and the industry? And
Well, the wine and spirits industry is suffering, and you say, well, why is it suffering? You know, everybody likes to drink. Well, not as many people like to drink anymore, and the World Health Organization and a number of other organizations have come out with announcements that it's bad for you and that it kills you and that it causes cancer and all kinds of things. And the world's taking a second look at whether or not that's the case. And there's a lot of studies that have been out there that sort of indicate that alcohol, in fact, does cause injuries and cancer and things like that, whether it's drunk driving, whether it's cancer, whether it's heart disease, et cetera. And the industry is having a real hard time pushing back against those movements. And it's very much back to the prohibition world and things like that, that there's a concerted effort that's anti-alcohol being put on, healthier lifestyle, et cetera, stay away from alcohol. And then, of course, the hemp market, which has exploded in the non-THC, non-cannabinoid states in the United States, has started to impact the wine drinkers and the spirit drinkers and the beer drinkers, because now you can get a bottle of hemp, which can give you a nice buzz without alcohol, which is pretty amazing. And so that's starting to deplete the interest of the consumers in the wine and spirits world. And then, of course, you have the sort of declining Napa Valley cult, French wine, et cetera, where people just aren't willing to spend $300, $400, $500, $600 a bottle for wine that's only marketably better than a $50 bottle or a $30 bottle, and they can't taste the difference anyways. So the industry is suffering in lots of ways. And of course, the tariffs haven't helped. The ups and downs. I've got a number of clients who have been wanting to export from their countries, say India or the UK or France or South Africa, and they've been so stifled by the tariffs and the changing tariffs that they really can't even do a business plan, can't really figure out if it's going to be a marketable way to do business. A number of companies have actually come over to the United States and tried to set up and get involved in the alcohol business here in the States to avoid the tariffs. But for people who wanted to bring over, say, bulk wine or bulk tequila or bulk spirits from other countries and bottle it here, that's become really an expensive proposition. The good news is that the tariffs, and nobody really ever talks about this with regards to tariffs, is that it's a value of what a willing buyer is paying the willing seller for. So if the willing buyer in the United States is paying $1 a bottle for European wine that sells for 30 or 40 euro in Europe, the government's not going to really audit the value of that wine vis-a-vis what's being sold in Europe, especially if it doesn't match, item for item. And therefore, they're really still respecting the private contract between the seller in Europe and the buyer in the United States in terms of what that value is, providing, of course, there's no secret value or secret handshake on the side, which would, of course, prove to be problematic. But if you can sell your goods from Europe at a low price and therefore make and still be able to make money on this side, the tariffs are actually reasonably small in terms of sheer numbers. So that's what's going on in the alcohol world. In the cannabis world, the quality of California cannabis continues to grow and grow and grow, as does Oregon and Washington and parts of Idaho, because we have amazing places to grow. And the quality of the Rhode Island and the New York and other states' cannabis where it's legal continues to drop. And those franchises are very expensive and very worthwhile because the laws of supply and demand, because we can't import or export weed legally across state lines yet. So we have a very big problem in terms of too much supply and too much quantity in California and too much quality. And we have little quality and little supply in places like Rhode Island. So the prices are extraordinarily high. And until that imbalance gets taken place, the cannabis business is going to have a real hard time, especially in the Western U.S. And so, what one of my clients has done is actually exporting their expertise and their IP not only to the Eastern U.S. in terms of how to cultivate and how to grow, but also to markets in Europe. And so they're actually selling their expertise and selling their consulting services as an exportable item to those other countries, as opposed to an actual item or good. So that's kind of what's going on. As for me, I'm an attorney based in Napa Valley, and I represent wineries, distilleries, distributors, hospitality people, pretty much everyone in the hospitality industry. Plus, I set up companies and advise middle market companies and small companies who are trying to do business in the United States, but are based in other countries. So I've developed a niche to set those things in motion. I also work with athletes, setting up their companies and their license agreements and things like that, especially for athletes who are not from this country and they need a special level of advice and counsel to understand how to set things up as an LLC or as a corporation, so that they have a marketable name to sell, yet they're not personally liable. So that's the kind of stuff that we do on a daily basis. Right now, we're dealing with the federal government on a grand jury investigation. We're dealing with a wage and hour claim against a brewery, and we're dealing with a huge audit by the federal government alcohol board on whether or not about $500,000 is owed in back taxes. So that's all we do right now.
That's a great summary.
Thanks for asking.
Sure thing, sure thing. Any question for Casey?
Hey, KC, this is Steve Nicol-Kyrgios. I saw your post. We should definitely follow up, but I wanted to reach out. Do you know Melanie Fox? You know, this is not for me. Melanie is one of our members in New York, and she is a speech coach, and she is targeting athletes, and she mentioned wrestlers, and you mentioned, you know, athletes that have trouble communicating. Do you know Melanie? I mean, hopefully we should introduce you to her.
Yes, we should. I think I heard her name because I was just in New York. I put on a whole wine law seminar with wine, talking about the French wine, Italian wine, and we had French wine, Italian wine, Washington State wine, and California wine. We compared them, and then we talked about how we got from the grape to the bottle and all the different regulations. So I think Doug was putting me in touch with her and maybe trying to replicate that event in New York one of these days.
We recently acquired an accounting firm called Markham, which is a good sized firm. And Markham has a cannabis guru, a woman named Jill Scher, who's kind of a national speaker. Probably should maybe figure out a way. I don't know if you know that name, but you've been around a little longer than her, but she's developed a nice name for herself and has been going around the country speaking about, you know, cannabis from an accounting and tax standpoint.
Oh, that's great, because we put on cannabis programs once or twice a year. We've done the import-export. We've done labor in the cannabis world. We've done investment in the cannabis world and IP in the cannabis world. So perhaps her expertise in terms of how to take care of the accounting and how to take care of cash issues and things like that would be particularly fascinating next time we do one. I think we're not going to do the next event where we do this is in Toronto, but we're probably not going to do that. It'll probably be somewhere around Orlando next in about a year.
Well, hopefully we could connect. We'll definitely connect offline. So thank you. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. I sent you a LinkedIn.
Yes, I saw it. I already accepted.
Thank you, Stephen, for thinking about Melanie. That's great. That's great. I should have thought about that before. But that's really good. I'm gonna follow up on that, which is great. So thank you again, Casey. Are you part of the LA 28 committee?
Not really. We've talked about it, but we're still trying to work out what that deal looks like.
Okay, cool, awesome.
I just want to add, guys, Casey, we actually focus a lot on the transportation for wine and spirits. It's one of my verticals that I've been passionate about. I actually was involved in the tequila industry for many years in Australia and now here in the US. So if you ever have any events and you need someone to speak about logistics or anything like that, let me know, man. Happy to help you.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're actually talking about doing a tequila event at the next meeting in Mexico City, which is in January. So I think maybe your expertise in that would be great. We're going to try to combine it with a huge tequila tasting. So
that's what I used to do, actually.
Oh, really?
my
Okay.
God.
So
And I
maybe,
tell
maybe
you
you have
what,
some
it was
ideas for
different
people
to
we should
sell.
invite.
It was different to sell pleasure than service.
Absolutely.
That's cool. That's cool. So thank you again, Casey. Casey, we have 10 more minutes. I wanted to go through the room. I see Doug opens up his camera. Doug, do you have a few words to say?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that Eduardo, he's basically your neighbor. And one of the things that KC has done is he brought, I think, 40 bottles of wine on our last Port of LA tour. And
Something like that.
so we're definitely, before we schedule the next one, which we'd hope to have this year, we're going to be giving KC a call. He's amazing. He's got a refrigerated trunk in his car.
Well,
That's
What are you
true.
drinking, KC? You got a little spike in that drink you got there, or what?
no, it's been a long day and there's still more to do. So it's all coffee, kids.
Okay, whatever you say.
I'm sure it's
I
coffee.
wish it were otherwise.
Only kidding.
So,
Sure.
so Doug, what about going through the room very quick? There's just a couple of members that hasn't spoken yet, so it would be great to know about them. Let's see, Sayali Mukate. Sayali, do you have a minute to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, yeah. I was just listening briefly to the conversation, and what we do is, I'm not going to talk about the opportunities, but it is just more about, what we do. So we provide custom software solutions to a variety of businesses. Any businesses needing for help on tech, we can definitely, talk. Yeah, and a couple of folks here are new, so I'll be happy to connect with.
Excellent. Thank you, Sayali.
Uh,
Tom, yeah, go ahead.
Or just if Rutherford Pascal is available, just to say hi, because he's leading a conversation on, I think it's Tuesday. Rutherford, are you there?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Yeah, I am.
cool. So
Is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday or Wednesday?
I think it's Tuesday, and if it's Wednesday, sorry, but I may have it wrong. And the reason why this is important is Rutherford is an expert on leadership. He's spent most of his career in the big pharma communities. So, like with Stephen, he spent some decent time in New Jersey. Maybe Stephen probably didn't spend time in Jersey, but it's close enough to New York, right? So his career has been in the big pharma, and he learned leadership and advanced, and now he's leading others and teaching others to be great leaders. And one of the basic formats and platforms that he has is John Maxwell. And so Rutherford introduced me to John Maxwell, and the last month or so I've read 6 of his books, and I've read 2 of them twice. And it really kind of inspired me to say, we're all struggling from a standpoint of time management, and we're always looking to be better leaders and have more impact. And Rutherford's an expert on it. So we started 2 different leadership monthly conversations, one that's more around health and wellness for leaders, and another one around the nuts and bolts of it. And so Rutherford's going to kick that one off next week. So Rutherford, is that a fair representation of some of the things you're involved with?
That is a completely fair, representation of what's going on with leadership with me, and hopefully that that we want to give you things that you need. You want to talk about leadership, things that are happening in your life, your career, your business that can help you move to the next level. One of the things with John Maxwell in his one of his books is called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And the first law is the law of the lid. Basically says if you think about leadership as 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the best leader you can be, and you think you're a 5 as a leader, that means your team cannot go above a 4. So in order to grow your leadership skills and then grow your business and grow your team, you got to get yourself up to a 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's one of the things we'll be trying to do, Doug and I, on this, on a monthly basis, is really grow people's leadership in order so they can grow their teams, leadership in their business, both personally and professionally.
Cool. Looking forward to it. So sorry, Cesar, I think we're at the time, so not much more time, but turning back to you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Doug, and thanks, Brother Bro. I was just, since we're a small group today, I just wanted to give a chance for the rest. Like I see Ruby, Alma, and Tom. If any of you want to say a few words, or maybe in half a minute, introduce yourself, that would be great. Then we can wrap up. I see
Hello,
Tom. Hi,
everyone.
Tom.
I just want to say it's been a very insightful section and great to be connected with you all. I do have a request for David and Uradu. I have a client in Ghana that is looking to import frozen meat and poultry. So I don't know if they are able to help connect us with any importer from Australia or Brazil. I think that'll be helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruby. And I can connect you with them just in case. And Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. That would not be, sorry. Yeah, that would not be an issue. If I can just get your details, I'm more than happy to connect.
Thanks, David.
Hey,
Hi,
everybody.
Tom.
Yeah, Tom at Home Supply Chain Consultants. Hey, appreciate the conversation here. Eduardo, I'd like to reach out and talk with you maybe next week, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
There might be some ways that we can help out each other. But yeah, look forward to it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Then Alma, any chance you're here? Alma's a new member.
Yes,
We have word in
I'm
this
right
week.
here. I'll do it real quick. My name is Alma Fuentes. My company is Efficient Flow Consulting, and I do logistics project management and out of my software and something in the software industry as well. And I'm looking to connect with everyone on projects in logistics. And thank you for these few minutes.
Thank you, Alma. Then to close the session today, Doug, Alma, if you can jump back, I would like you to present a little bit about the event in Africa. I'm gonna share my screen, so you can tell everyone about the event going on in Tanzania in July.
Okay, yeah, I probably should only do 30, 60 seconds just because we're at the top of the hour. But this is an event that I was telling Dr. Sanjeev Kagram, who's our board chair, I said, this is something that got out of control. I had nothing to do with it, but our executive director, Nima Maleli, she's just like a dog on a bone, just like, this is what we're gonna do and we're gonna get it. And she's determined, she's smart, she's really innovative, and she decided we're going to do an event, a global chamber event, and we're going to get the president of Tanzania. And sure enough, she did. July 9, 10, and 11, kicking off with the president of Tanzania, finishing up with the president of Zanzibar about trade. And it's framed around Gateway to Africa, the opportunities in Africa, and bringing our team around Africa together in Tanzania. Just really excited for it. We are meeting Saturday to finalize and put details around how we communicate this out. But I was very happy to see that the last couple days that there's most of the sponsorship is taken care of. A lot of the details are taken care of. And so we'll start rolling this out next week. If you are involved with Africa, I hope you'll join us in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, with the president and with the Global Chamber Africa and with people from around the world. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's time that we all get involved with Africa. The next 10 to 20 years are going to be amazing. And even now, there are some extraordinary things happening that we all should be part of. And that's what this is all about, opportunity. So thank you, Cesar, for the opportunity to share that. We're going to have more next week, but check out that location on our website, July 9 and through 11. We're going to be building that out, and it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Thank you, Doug. And well, that's it for today. Thank you, Eduardo, David.
Thank you guys for the
and
time.
AC.
A pleasure.
It's been an insightful session. Thanks again. Have a
Thanks,
great
See you
one.
next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
15 more hours till part 2.
Exactly.
I'll miss part 2, but thank you.
Thanks, Kate.